Okay. Uh, Today we'll do the next one, the next experiment. So everyone completed the previous one, which I given the subnetting problem. I'm asking you guys whether you completed or not. Have any doubts?
Still, no, sir. Still, little is
Why?
remaining.
Still?
Little is remaining, sir. Last part.
Okay. What about others? Shreyas, Devadiga,
Yes,
Charan?
yes.
Yedappa, you completed that.
No, sir. I have yet to complete.
Why? Why you are not completed? You not understood or have any doubts?
So, no, sir. No doubts.
Then why you are not completed? Shruti, Kirti,
Yes, sir.
completed.
No, sir, not yet. Today
Okay,
I will submit, sir.
Suhas, Suhas, Yogita, Amulya.
So not it, sir, not completed.
Why? What's the problem?
So today I will complete, sir.
Charan,
Sir, I have completed the calculation, sir. I have to implement.
Kutubuddin, ನಮಗೆ ನೀವು ಲೇಟಾಗಿ ಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ನೀವೇ ಕಳ್ಕೊತೀರ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ರೋಹಿತ್, ವಿನೀತ್, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರೇನ್ರಪ್ಪ?
ಸರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಸರ್ ಅದು.
ಹ್ಮ್. ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ, ಒಂದು ವಾರ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ರಿ? ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಸಂಡೇ ಸ್ಯಾಟರ್ಡೆ? Okay, the next one, in this lab, we are going to do some basic configuration, such as setting up the host name and giving some password to each networking devices, and we will look at how that could be accessed to your laptop. Okay, for each and every time if something is happened, like in a network, we couldn't visit there and we have to connect the console cable and we have to configure it, right? Each time we cannot go there and we can't do that every time. So what we do, by sitting here itself, we are remote login to that device. Okay. So what we call telnet or SSH, what we do. So how that could be you set up on a network to access that device sitting at your place. A small demonstration I'm going to give today. The prerequisite for this lab would be like you should be aware about how to construct this network or topology and assigning that IP address. Okay, the basic configuration and giving this default gateway, so and so forth. Okay, so I'm not going to take this particular network. Instead, whatever we did in the very first lab, we take the same network and we do some sort of configuration on the device where you would able to get the access of that device, networking device. I'm not telling that how you could access the route this end device. Instead, we were saying how you could access this networking devices at your terminal. Okay, remote login or SSH, whatever you call it. Okay, we need some configuration on that device, the router or switch, where that could be accessed by your end terminal. Because network administrator will sit at one place. If something is happened, he cannot go there and see the device, what happens, whether it is working or powered off, powered on, so everything. the very first what he will do is just try to log in. If he couldn't able to log in, then he will visit that location and will see whether the device is powered off or powered on. They will check whether it is powered up or powered on. So if network administrator is able to access the device, then he will check whether its configuration is there, something is changed or everything is normal or something. So ultimately, we need this is a small experiment, not a small experiment. You just we are trying to look at what exactly the configuration to access this device over your terminals or your PC or whatever you call it. Okay, so for this, so the network you only have to do it because it's very simple. You have to take this devices and you have to connect them and how to assign that IP address, gateway, so on and so forth. Okay, and you have to do it whatever after this experiment. Like after I'm showing this thing, I want to upload this into Classroom. You have to download and you have to do the same in your Cisco packet tracer. What actually we are doing in this lab here is, so we are trying to giving some name to that each host, like not a host, the each devices, networking devices. Let us say this switch. So how you could be able to give that name to this switch? It's not even that is not required. Even it's very simple. Okay, and putting some message on like if whenever someone is able to accessing it, I'm showing this banner. If they are unauthorized, they should not log into this device. Something like that. Okay, and the password must also be encrypted using MD5 algorithm. I think you are all aware about this MD5 algorithm, right? Message digest 5. Okay, so how that could be, the password could be encrypted. It's very simple by using some commands. Okay, so in order to verify whatever the encrypted data we will get, the encrypted password. So if you follow that MD5 algorithm, you would be able to get whatever the password you will give, the same encrypted data will going to get it. And configuring the password encryption on switch using this global configuration command, whatever it is. Okay, then I'm putting this console. Okay, and also we are giving some privileges. If someone is access the device, so they would need some again the credentials to log in to the privilege, like console login. Okay, that is one, and we are configuring something called telnet. That's what you call remote login, and configuring this IP address gateway and testing this telnet connectivity from your remote laptop using telnet client. Okay, so what actually in this we are doing, if something, let us say, if I turned off this device, if I turned on this router, let us say, assume like this router is turned off due to some reason, or let us say in the net server room, there is no power. Obviously, these devices are get turned off, right? So then obviously you will not able to get any network or internet to this part, not only this part as well as this as well as this, because this is the one gateway where it would connects to all the networks. So if this fail, then there is automatically there is no network at all. You're not able to access the internet or whatever you are not able to communicate to any other device in the same network itself. Okay. If this is turned off, obviously there is no communication at all. Okay. In this scenario, so whoever have in charge on this network means administrating this network, they're supposed to visit this server room or wherever this device is kept, and they have to look at what is the issue. Okay, by seeing that rack wherever you put this device, so you would able to understand whether is this device is having a power or not. Okay. So we know that physically how this would looks. See here, this would looks like this, right? So this is your router and these two are the switches. So the same thing we have in the logical. So have one router, two switches and one server. Isn't it? So if I look at, it's the same. The rack would be consist some power distribution module and two switches and one, one router, and this is your server. Okay, and this server is connected to router, and these two ports are connected to two switches, isn't it? Two switches, and from the switches it is connected to end device. To this module, so we have connecting power from this power distributed device. See, we have some points, power plugs here on the rack. So we are giving this power supply from this distributed unit to each devices. So how many devices I can connect in this rack? It depends on the capacity of that power plug that we have in this rack. Not only that, even you could even add some more power distributed lines or whatever you call junction box in locally. We have something called power distributed card here, where even you can add it, and we can add some number of more devices in this rack, and it depends on the capacity. Okay. Okay. So when I go and see here, you would able to understand. Okay, here this device is get turned off. Either it may happen someone is visited and they manually turned off, or due to some power issue, this may also get turned off. But if you see, these devices are running up, the switches are running, but this device is turned off because for this experiment I only did it manually. Probably in real time it may happen anything, isn't it? So what I will do, so the network administrator have to visit that server room and have to turn on this device. Once it's click here, you could be able to turn on this device, isn't it? Yes or no? So if this is turned on, then it's work fine. It takes some time to boot up. Okay. Okay. So this is take some time to boot up. Okay. Once it's boot up, it's work normally, because again it will reload this configuration from this saved memory, and it will rerun. This router will configured like how you configured in previously, and it functions now. So then you would be able to access, and you would be able to do whatever you would like to do on network. So okay, so if there is some physically, if something is happened on this device, then we need to visit that location. You have to find it. What is the problem? So if something hardware is problem, then you have to visit and you have to check it. Okay. If something is changed on this router, okay, if something a software or configuration which is changed on this router, so again that administrator has to visit, okay, and have to check what has happened. Instead, what they can do, instead of going visiting that particular location, by sitting wherever he sits, he can access this device and he can look at what is the configuration and whether it is proper, or is there any wrong configuration has happened on this router. Even that configuration might also makes you to enable accessing. Accessing of network may be enabled. So you would not able to access the internet if there is even slight check configuration is changed on this networking devices. Okay. So what is the one problem that would comes here whenever you create a loop on this switch? Okay, whenever you create means whenever you connect one more cable. Okay, so let me show you that. Okay, whenever you connect one more cable from this to this itself, it creates a loop. Okay, because we know that defaultly every AND devices would comes with only one LAN port, right? If you have something, you have two ports and you are connecting two ports to the same switch, it creates a loop, then automatically this part is going to not work. So we will discuss, so when that would happen. So what is the problem? So because whenever a loop is created in a network, obviously that network is going to be unstable, and it automatically that part is not going to work. Or something where like you are connecting a point from here and you connecting to the same here itself. But here in simulator that is not allowed, but this could be happened physically. in a real time this may happen, right? Like we provide some ports where you connect that from ports to your PC. What the people will do, they will connect from that port to the another port, what that provision is made. So when you connect from a port to a port, there itself it creates a loop. So that makes uh, instability in the network. Means what you could say, it's a loop, right? So but that should not be happened. So automatically a spanning tree will comes into picture and it will disable that ports. So that is a one thing. Or what will happen is that if that loop has been created, the complete network will not going to work, because we know that like on every 5 seconds your switch is going to broadcast BPDU message. Okay, there are so and so forth. Okay, so we will discuss that later when it comes to switching part. So first we are concentrating on routing. Okay, before that routing we are trying to understand so how exactly the network administrator they used to work in their daily life. If something is happened, if something problems would occur in the network, how they are going to solve them. So for that, in order to solve them, what are the things which they would need? Means because if something is manual, so the human effort will be required more. Okay, if something is smarter, the human requirement will not be more. Okay, means you have something a services where you could access that service by sitting here itself. That's it's quite beauty, right? It's something it's better instead visiting there physically and looking at what exactly so what happened, scratching their heads, so and so forth. Instead, if you are trying to access the device and looking at the primary things whether that would proper or not, then you can take a next action where I would whether they wants to go there or they can find what is the issue in that device. Make sense? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Karan? Lohit?
Yes, sir.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಪ್ಪ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so for that we need to understand like what is this telnet and what is this password, why we need, so and so forth. So I've been into I worked as like a network engineer in Toyota Kirloskar. So our job used to keep monitor each and every time whether my network is stable or not. If something is happened, we have to hurry in such a way that we have to resolve it immediately, because you know that Toyota is one of the automotive manufacturing industry. So for every 4 minutes, the one car will comes out. Okay, completely it will manufacture, tested, everything assembled, tested for every 4 minutes. For every 4 minutes, they have to manufacture one car. Think out of it. If our network it have some problem for 4 minutes, they have the huge loss. Means they have the number of production will be less, right? Okay. So even that network issues comes, we have to clear that as soon as possible. Otherwise, that kind of issues will be get escalated. Okay, yeah, you understood what is that requirement what they have, because they have a complete fiber network for the production region, and for the office work they have some Ethernet network. So why we need a fiber network? They need the data should be very at fast rate. Probably if you use an Ethernet network, probably it not gives that much of data rate what that fiber network would gives. Okay, for that complete manufacturing, whatever the region like the plant they have, it is completely built on this fiber network. Okay, there is no Ethernet at all. It's completely a fiber network. So from that terminal where they have kept that machine, that computer machine to read that barcode, whatever they have that each part. Everything is built on fiber. Okay. And whatever they use, they have a region where will sit, the employees will sit and they do that office work and all. They have that normal network, which is Ethernet, or it is built on this Ethernet cable. Okay. So you think of it like they have such a kind of requirement. So they don't want to that network should be failed for even 1 minute. If that 1 minute the network is failed, there will be a huge loss because they have that kind of requirement which is comes all over the world, and they used to give that requirement by work on this, right? So they used to have like a big requirement on these two products, especially that Innova and Fortuner. Okay, so every 4 minutes, one car will get ready, and that will be completely tested and will dispatch to the showrooms and all. Okay, they used to run with 3 shift: morning, general, and night shift. Okay, they have their own policies or they have their own business methods. But our role is to keep monitor each time whenever is there is a problem. So that would be get like highlighted in my inbox. Like we have our own software where we would be able to get whatever the network related issues in that software. Once that comes, we'll immediately respond to that issues. So we have a team of 9 members where we used to come. The everyday job of our team is to make our network stable. Not stable means we will all keep monitoring it to make nothing issues would comes in each and every day. Okay. So when it comes to this networking, when you are into this domain and you are working like to a client, okay. So it is nothing but you are providing a service to them on this network. Okay. If any network comes, so you will going to resolve that issues, and for that they will going to charge, like they're going to pay you. So the company they will pay, from the company you will get the salary, something like that. Okay. So just in like what exactly in like, the companies, the network engineers they do. So like keeping that in mind, you must also aware about like this, like what is this, how they would access the device and how they will check that configuration is that proper on the device or not. Okay. So that's where the objective of this lab is all about. Okay, it's just very simple one. So what I'm doing, I'm not going to do on this network because that would again take some skills, some time on constructing this and assigning an IP address, so and so forth. I just go with so which I've been already built in the very first lab. Even you could also try, or if you want to do it on this network, you could also do it. It's very simple. So they are saying they wants to give some like able to access the switch on this device. Means whatever the changes I do on this device, and when I'm saving, that should be happened. So in by taking that device over this network, like how you connect remotely, right? So you use some applications where that provides the remote connection. I think it could be your team viewer or something like any desk and so forth, right? It's very simple, right? You are not take any big risk to configure your device. That when then you could give that IP address to them to access. What you will simply do, you will just install that TeamViewer or AnyDesk, and you just pass it your that ID and the password. They will be able to log in. Means that organization, the TeamViewer or AnyDesk, they are providing them you to access it. But we are trusting them, right? Whenever you think if there is no trust, there is no security on the team or any desk, no one will going to do that because they can easily steal. Because whenever you configuring or installing the software, it will ask your all permissions, right? They would able to even ask your hardware, so and the memory, everything. If they steal some data from you, who will know that, right? So even if you are in the same network or in the same network, you are not use whatever the service which been available in your Windows, right? We have RDP service where which connects the remote login. You would able to access that. But what still you do, you will just use that applications and you will be able to log in to your friends or your another device which is kept remote, or it is in another network, so on and so forth. So what we do, how that could be happens like in network, like how a network administrator by sitting at its own place, how he could able to access a switch or a router which is placed in the premises or in the location. Something where they would be able to configure this client HT telnet or what SSH on the device, and by giving that, like on that basis they would be able to access it. Before that, you must understand the architecture of this router. I'm not getting into the switch part. Probably this we'll go get into the later, but in this instruction I be written on the switch itself. Okay, you can change this and you can put that instead of switch, you can put or a router, whatever. But I'm now today I'm doing on the router. I'm not doing it on switch. Even I could do it on switch as well, but so again, before, like, we are not discussed the architecture of switch, so then we will try to explore more on that. So today what we'll do, we'll understand the architecture, what are the hardware and the software components that may come with. Okay, then we later will get into this part. Very simple, and even I will go that part with very fast because this would already I explained in your CCN class. Okay, it's a typical block diagram that, so what I would say, a router architecture, this would comes with some sort of component, hardware components. Okay, a processor or what you say, central processing unit. Okay, so with that, it comes with some okay, flash memory, NVRAM. This is non-volatile RAM, so something like ROM. Okay, it comes with even boot ROM. Okay, and then it comes with some. This is input output port. Okay, this part is input output interface or port, and this is CPU. Then it comes with flash memory, NVRAM, then boot ROM, so on and so forth. Okay, if I take this ROM, I already explained on this. Can anyone respond for this? I already explained on this or not? Karthik, Yogita? Lohit? Amit? Arun? Ankit? Karthikeya, Joyce?
Sir.
ಇದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ.
Can you, sir?
ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ರೌಟರ್ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್.
You just explained about routing, static routing, sir, last week.
No. In the previous class, in CCN class, I explained on this router architecture.
Sir. No, sir.
Huh? No. Pranav?
Yes, sir.
ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಪ್ಪ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ.
No, sir.
Okay. What others are doing? When I ask this question, someone like Amit and Karthikeya, Joyce. Lohit?
Yes, sir.
ಯಾಕ್ರಿ ನೀವು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Huh? ಏನ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ಲ you just kept somewhere else and you are doing whatever you are ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಏನ್ರಪ್ಪ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. ನನಗೇನ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. at the end whatever you will get like an test or something, if you have failed then you are again failed in the lab itself. You just keep that in mind. I'm telling this from the starting itself. Okay. So this router architecture, in this router architecture, you can see we have something called flash memory. And in this memory, used to store your iOS. So iOS is nothing but the operating system. Okay. So this iOS is not a Mac. So this operating system, which is by Cisco, they would call this iOS. Okay. Inter-network operating system. Okay, they used to kept all this operating system in the flash memory. Okay, flash memory is a memory where it used to keep iOS. Okay, 1.bin. Okay, 2.bin means all versions of the iOS. Okay, so the previous one. So when you purchase the device, it will comes defaultly comes with some iOS, some version iOS. Later, if you upgrade it, it will also save the previous one and the new one as well. If that new one something is happened, like once you install and you rebooted, if that is not rebooted with that operating system, means it has some faults or it has some flaws in it. And again, you can redirect with the previous software operating system. Okay, it's something like how your PCs would comes nowadays, the operating system which is installed in SSD. You have seen that, right? Nowadays the PCs which comes with both HSD and SSD. Okay, they're gonna put that operating system in SSD instead HDD. So earlier days we used to install even that in an HDD. So we understood that by understanding that HDD we have some latency, right? We have some mechanical latency because when you want to seek the data from HDD, so there is some latency with seek time, rotational latency, so and so forth. So that could be overcome by using some SSD, solid state hard disk. Okay, it's very fast. That's why even whatever the PCs that you take now, it get immediately boot up because that operating systems would be kept in that SSD. So similarly here also, your flash memory is something you could think of SSD, and it keeps your the device operating system. Okay, iOS 1, 2, 3. This number is telling the version. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So the 3 is something like latest version. I will show you that even in the in the real devices, what is the operating system and how they are going to give it convention, like the name convention. Simply I've taken that iOS. Okay, 1, 2 is something, the previous one, that is the latest one, what you install newly and you're running with this operating system. The previous one would also available. If you want this the new one, you can even still use the older one. Once you reboot and you are directing that device to you boot from this, then that operating system will get booted. Okay. The flash memory is mainly used to keep your operating system, and we have something called NVRAM. So we have two components actually. One is RAM and another one is NVRAM. So volatile and non-volatile. Okay. So in this RAM, it used to keep some information, which I would say your running config, and other things. So in RAM memory, in NVRAM, it used to keep some like startup config or default register, so and so forth. What exactly these are? So running config is something like it's a file which holds your configuration file. So whatever you configure on the device, that will be kept on this RAM memory. Okay, once you boot up, complete configuration will be kept in this running config. Okay, if you are not saving this to a non-volatile, what will happen if this device like rebooted, your complete whatever the data which is held by this file running config, it is completely erased. So what we'll do, once you did the configuration, and that would be saved in this file running config. So you should write that information to startup config, which will be held by your non-volatile memory, which is called NVRAM. So whatever you did the configuration on the device, you should write that information onto the NVRAM, which keeps the file name as startup config. Okay. Once you, if after you return that configuration on this startup config, so what will happen if the device is rebooted? This running config will be erased. When it is rebooted, okay, so it will take the configuration from startup config and load on this running config, and it will work as it previous how you configure this device. Okay, and we have something called default default register, where this default register tells the sequence. It tells the sequence. You just think of it's a registry which tells the sequence in which order the device should boot up. So I will tell you that in later what is that default register would does. Okay, so keep that in mind. The default registry is kept in non-volatile. It keeps or it gives the information about in which way it should load the operating system. So the later point I will explain on that. And we have something called ROM. So we have the RAM, we have RAM as well as NVRAM, and we have something called flash memory, and we have something, another one is ROM. In this ROM, we used to put some mini OS, so mini operating system. Okay, that is mainly used for this ROM. Okay, so we have something called flash. We used to put the operating system, iOS, and RAM, it puts the running configuration, so and so forth, the IP address, IP configuration, interface configuration, all this will be held by your RAM memory, and NVRAM, it keeps the non-volatile information like your startup config, default registry information, so and so forth. And ROM, we put some mini operating system. Okay, and default we have something called CPU. Okay, and we have these two is like input output device. We have these two for configuration. So connecting wire and all, and these are the input output interface, connecting towards the WAN and connecting devices to the LAN, so and so forth. Is that clear? Okay. So the booting procedure of this device is like the very first time when you turn on, it will does what is called power on self test. Once the power on self test is completed, it's going to boot and load the operating system from the flash memory to ROM. It's going to boot flash memory, means your ROM would also help with your bootstrap. Okay, not only it keep the mini OS, it is also kept this bootstrap. Means your operating system is get loaded into the device from the flash memory. Okay, something due to something has happened and you are not able to load the operating system from flash. Okay, then your bootstrap is going to take a next decision to load the mini operating system which is loaded in the ROM. Okay, so sorry, the first one is it will take from flash memory. Okay, the next one, it will load the operating system from the telnet. Telnet means if you configure something telnet, okay, where you keep in that server with some operating system. So this device is going to load that operating system from the telnet. Telnet is nothing but TFTP. TFTP is nothing but trivial file transfer protocol. Okay, if you're not able to get loaded with the operating system which is stored in flash memory, so it will take the operating system, load the operating system from TFTP server. Okay, once if the TFTP server it will load the operating system, then it will work like previous, like that only. Even if they are not able to access the operating system from TFTP, then it will look the operating system from ROM, which is stored as like a mini operating system. Even if that is not available, the mini operating system is not able to load, not able to access and load into the device, then it will go and so then the device will not able to load it. Okay. So that is where we have three options. If you're not able to load from Flash, then it will go and get it from TFTP. Even if the TFTP is not able to access and load it, then it will load it from the mini operating system. Even if the mini operating system is not available, then it will completely the device will get dead. Means it's not at all get boot up. Okay. So the sequence of this is with it's told by the default registry which is stored in NVRAM. It tells the sequence whether he wants to load it from Flash or from TFTP or it from ROM. The sequence will be configured in the default register. The sequence of that will be given by your default registry information. So I will show you all these things. Means when you are not able to load that from flash memory, how that you could be able to load it from TFTP. If you are not able to load it from TFTP, how you could be able to load it the mini operating system. So probably in this class, I'm not going to show it because probably in the next or something. So I will going to give a live demonstration how that you could download and update on a real device. Okay. So, and if I would like to say something, I did this, not this. Along with this, I did so many things uh, for so many banking networks. Okay, if you take Yes Bank or ICICI, so many of this bank, I actually installed this device and I upgraded software and as well as I configured the complete network and I make that network and access their own network. Okay, so I did nearly 50 to 60 sites in this throughout in India. If I say throughout India, not India, from this South India actually. I used to work some of the sites from Bangalore, and I work even in Mysore, Yes Bank, and another two banks like SBI, and another two banks. I upgraded the existing network with a new module and also with upgrading their operating system to a new one and configuring that complete network to access their own network, which is in somewhere the head office like that. It is a kind of work which I consult, like kind of consultation work I have taken and I work on that. So probably I would show like how you could configure, but I had all that software in my laptop itself, but recently I have uninstalled that. Okay, I had the software which I would require for this kind of work. So what I said now, upgrading, so and so forth. But recently I have uninstalled everything. It's no problem. Again, I have to install and I have to show you everything. Otherwise, I will show you whatever could be possible in this software itself. Okay. So in real time, it not be, but whatever the steps we could follow on this simulator, the same thing you should follow on the real time. How you do to upgrade and device software, so and so forth. How you could make this device to load the operating from the TFTP server, so and so forth. Okay. That's the one point I would like to mention. I think you understood this part. Understood? Yes, no, maybe.
Somewhat, sir. Like not completely, but have a little of ideas.
Okay, fine. So later classes, probably when you start working on that, you would be understand more better. Like you have still not understood anything, then you must ask some questions or you must ask whether I want to repeat it or not. Any from any others, like any doubts? Understood or not? At least ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆಯೇನ್ರಪ್ಪ? Okay. So the next one, when it comes work with this CLI mode, so the Cisco, okay, hierarchical modes in- Okay, able to see this screen? Yes or no? ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಿದೆಯಾ ಇದು?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. If you see here, when you're working on that Linux terminal, actually the iOS is completely a Linux. When you're working on that, you're going to use the CLI command, like how you use the command prompt or terminal in Linux machine. The same way you should also configure that devices, networking devices. Okay, in order to configure that, you must know some commands. Okay, so when you're working on that device using with on that iOS OS, it's going to use it's going to happen with these three modes. Okay, the first one is user execution mode, privilege mode, and another one is global configuration mode. They would also call like user execution commands, like what is privilege commands and what is global configuration command. To understand this kinds of modes, very simple. Okay, you would say that like some commands would work at user mode, and some commands will work at privilege mode, and some commands will work at global configuration mode. Okay, that is what do you mean by these kinds of modes what we have in this operating system. So what is mean by user mode is something you would be able to run some set of commands and which are give some information, and it is very basic. If you need to know what the device version, what is the hardware, and you know some information about that device, so you are not been into any of the other modes like what we have privilege or global mode. You've been into an user mode where you would be able to get all such information, the basic information about that device, as well as the network, so on and so forth. Okay, so I would say this is very limited. You will get some information if you are in the user mode. How you could come to know whether you are in user mode or global mode or in privilege mode? You would see this arrow mark, right? This is actually less greater than symbol. Okay, and this is hash, and this is like router configure slash. Okay, if this like I will show you here itself. When I click on this, and if I click on this CLI, you are in this terminal. Okay, let's enter it, and if you see here router and this arrow mark is says that you are in user mode. Defaultly when you logged in, you are into user mode, where you in this mode you would be able to see only some basic information. Show version. Okay, this is one command we use here to get to know what is the version of the software which is used in this device. So here you could see this is Cisco 1841 version 5 with this KB of memory. Then the processor is this, and this is M86 processor. Part number, masks, Ethernet, how many? Then how many of the fast Ethernet, so and so forth. Okay, and all this product contains the cryptography feature and is subjected to United States and local country laws governing important, so and so. All this information you would be able to get in the user mode. But you in this mode, if you are in this mode, you are not able to configure it. In order to configure that, then you should change from this mode to some other mode. Okay, so whatever, like if you are testing or something in your mobile or in anything, or when you are installing some unknown apps from the website or something, you should allow in your mobile, allowing the unknown source to install in your device. Isn't it? Yes or no? When you are installing some APK file from the website, you're not able to download that from an Play Store or something. When you downloaded it and you are not able to install it immediately, unless or until you are make sure or you are enabling to give an access to the unknown source to install on your device. You will find that settings in your settings options, right? Once you enable that, then only you would be able to install it. Isn't it? Something like that, when you are configuring your device, you are not do that on at any mode. You should be in some particular mode where that gives that privilege. If you have, then you get into that mode and you would be able to configure them. Okay. So what set of commands you would be able to run on this user mode? Only a few commands, like some sort of show commands and ping commands and so on and so forth. Here in this mode, you can do that ping command, right? So ping and to the destination address, something 192.168.2.1 something. So you will be able to see the answer response. See, success rate is 100. Everything is sent from this source, this point to this device. I ping from this to this. Okay. So you'd be able to run that command in the user mode itself, but you cannot run some sort of commands in the user mode. See here, in the privilege mode, you're going to do some other set of commands. Reload means if you want to reload this device, you can reload here itself. If you press reload, see, you're not able to run that command over the user mode. That's why it is showing translating your reload command to domain name server to check whether that domain name is present there or not. Understood? You just turned off and turn on and get back. It will be again loaded. User mode is just like a simple information gathering mode. The next privilege mode, in this mode, you would able to see some additional information. So whatever you are not able to get it in the user mode. Means user mode, only you would able to see about the device, what is the version, so. But in the privilege mode, you would able to see the configuration information as well. But that could not be available in the user mode. Okay, so I'll just give no and enter. I'm in user mode. If I want to change my from user mode to global, privilege mode, so you should be in hierarchical only. User mode to privilege, privilege to global, global to then you have one more command mode called interface commands or interface mode, global configuration interface mode. So all this belongs to global configuration mode itself. Then you need not to worry about this part. Okay, in order to change my mode from user to privilege, we just want to give a command like enable. So after you giving this enable, you would see this symbol is gets changed to hash. Means this would represent you are in configuration mode. Okay, if I give now reload and enter, it will ask proceed with reload. Yes, confirm means if I press enter, now this device get reboot. Means I have privilege that to now reboot the device. Now instead I'm using this in very fresh, means I've just installed and I'm using it. I'm configuring it this device. Then I have not set up anything on this device. Means I could easily go from in user mode to enable mode. But later when the network administrator they configure this device, if someone is accessing this device, they would even not able to change from their user mode to privilege mode because they're going to set the password. If you know the password, then you are allowed, then otherwise you are not allowed. Okay, is that clear? In global in this privilege mode, you would be able to get some information, additional configuration information. Show IP interface brief, something like that. So IP interface brief means I'm getting a brief information about IP address on the interfaces. If I just click enter, you would be able to see how many interfaces are there and what is the IP addresses assigned. So since it is a new thing, it is not assigned anything. I have not assigned anything to each of this interface. Okay, but the same command you would not able to get it in the user mode. If I go back and if to go back, give exit or disable, you can give that command. Okay, and if I say show interface, I show IP interface brief, something like that, you would able to get, because I'm getting only some huge information, but you cannot do this reload command. If I do this reload command, it will ask like the domain to resolve this address. What is this reload? So and so. I should be in privilege mode into some sort of to know about some additional information. Okay. And when you want to change this privilege means you would like now to configure some interface. Okay, you should be in global configuration mode. So to change that configuration privilege mode to global configuration mode, you're supposed to use a command called configuration terminal. Configuration terminal, you can give that in complete or configuration terminal, or you can simply give conf enter. If you give this command, you could see the changes here. It is routers bracket configuration hash. This tells that you are in configuration mode. Now you can configure the device. Understood? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you would able to configure the device. Means when you could configure when you are in global configuration mode. Okay. So I will configure this device with some sort of this requirement, and I will tell you why we use this. So here in the very first requirement, I was supposed to give the name to this device. Okay. So this would defaultly comes with a router. Okay. Even I can change. Okay. Change this if I host name with some name. Okay. I just enter. You could see here now this router name is get changed to SJCE, isn't it? So why we need this host name? Because whenever you logged in, the network administrator, they are logging into this device. By giving this name, they would easily understand where this device is kept, like which device I'm accessing it. Means obviously whatever the device they've been used in the organization or in the network, they're gonna give some name to that. So with that name, they would easily understand. They would come to know to which device I logged in. If the same name, the default whatever it comes earlier, if we kept like that only, we quite confusing. Router. They would doesn't know which router I logged in and where I'm changing its configuration, so and so. That's why we use something called giving the name to the device. So that's what here the very first thing we would included in your part. So we are giving the name to that host. Even you also do that same thing, right? Whenever the PC would comes, you will change immediately. You will get change your admin name, right? So once that admin name is changed, every time when you log in, it will show your name as an admin, right? Otherwise, default it will come show admin. Isn't it? The same like that. So like that only we do the changing the host name. So you would understand like which device I'm now working on. I logged in, I changing this configuration, so on and so forth. For that, so only the sake we are using the host name for assigning that to a host. Okay. So the next one is we are configuring the message of the day as like unauthorized access or forbidden. Okay. So we are now giving some sort of a message whoever they would logging in this device. Okay. To set that, it's very simple to change the host name. You just give a host name and followed by the name which you like to give. Okay. The next one is we are giving something called banner. Just nothing but we adding a message. Okay. To change it, we have something called mod. Something called banner. Okay. Banner. Then we said here set a message to the day banner. Okay. So that is what mot. C space, then you're asking you to C banner text where C is delimit the character. You just copy this and copy and paste there. Just right click, paste, then enter. But get uh, configured. That's very simple, right? So this command is banner. You could also write whenever I'm typing these commands if you are difficult to remember source. Okay. So whatever you the next time in your own do try on this. So probably when you are getting the invalid or unrecognized command so and so, probably you would be in different mode. Okay, you just try that changing. When you are configuring the device, you should be in the configuration mode to get some information. Even you would be in privilege or user. User is nothing. You just give some information. Either you should be in privilege mode to get some information about your configuration. When you are doing the real configuration, you should be in configuration mode. To change from privilege to configuration, you use configuration terminal command. That's it. Very simple. Okay. The very next step is the configuring the password for privilege mode access as Cisco. The password must be MD5. Means I'm configuring the password to the privilege mode. Means when you are changing from user mode to privilege, when you are having this transition, you must give a password to complete take a transition. Otherwise, it will not get into a privilege mode. Because when you are into privilege mode, you get some configuration details there. Okay, so to avoid those, what you could do, you just set a password to it so that everyone not able to access it. Okay, to do so, we have simple command enable, then the password. So we give this enable change from user to global, right? So we give that same command and we'll ask like password to set, or if you use password, then that password will be plain text. Okay, whatever the password I will give now, and if I enter, this will be the enable mode, the privilege mode will be set with the password Cisco. Okay, and that would be plain text. Means if I run that run configuration, I would be able to see what is the password which I set. So what I will do instead of using, so there are two options here. Assign the privilege level password or assign the privilege level password with a secret. Okay, if I use a secret, that will be encrypted with MD5 algorithm secret, and if I use the Cisco, enter. That's it. And now if I show that uh, password, see here I have configured that, right, and that is encrypted. I would not able to see what is the password. And this is 5 tells MD5. Okay, here these three are clear. These three are clear. Now I am giving this configuration pod encryption switch using the global configuration command. So the global configuration command, I use something called encryption, password encryption, right? Password. You will not get that. You just give a question mark and you will see what all the possible commands that you would run on this mode. Okay, you just see it and you just look at which one you would like to run. Okay, I just want to put the whole password should be encrypted on global. Then that would comes under here itself, like the parsing policy, party privilege, the command privilege, something like that. And see here the configuration register. Define the configuration register. Okay, that I will tell you later. Like so, give this command itself privilege privilege. And you have something called not a privilege. Okay, you have something called service, right? Service or secure image or something like that. Can you use service? See, in the service, you will see something called password encryption. So it encrypt the system password as well. Complete it. Whatever you give the password will be encrypted. So give the password encryption. That's it. That's only the command you should do it. That's why here that would be added. Okay. Then we are asking you to configure the console port. Console is something like when you connect the console cable and you are accessing this device. If you are not configuring this, then they would easily access all these commands and they would able to configure that. To enable to some add some password, what I'm doing here, I'm getting into console line. Okay, to give that line console 0 enter. So see here line, I'm console line terminal. To change that to that particular thing, and I am giving this password as Cisco console and enter, and I'm giving this login. Okay, and it is asking to set timeout. Means when you logged in, it should be get timed out for this time 6 minutes 45 seconds. Okay, if you press enter, you would see here itself what the commands you could run. Okay, session timer, session limit, maximum number of session time. Okay, then you would see here some timestamp. To set some time, execution timeout. Set the execution timeout. Okay, so see execution timeout. Then a question mark if you type, it will ask you type in minutes. Okay, 6 then space. If you enter, it will ask in seconds. 45 then enter. Okay, okay. Just another 10 minutes. I'll complete this. Okay, just bear with me. Then it will ask you to history size like 15 commands and synchronize logging. Synchronize logging is something when you are debugging, means it will keep debugs whatever the packet that would receive, and whatever when you are configuring it, it simply interrupt you because you are not able to configure those. So in order to do so, we use synchronization login. Okay, so later classes I will show you what exactly the synchronization login does. So the moment you should understand it, logging means when you're doing this configuration, whatever the logs that device would it get logged in the synchronously. It will not interrupt when you are configured things. Okay. Uh, to that, so we have something called here logging. Modify the message logging facility. Okay. So just give that logging, then it should be synchronized. That's it. This part is done now. And similarly, you have to do for telnet. Telnet means I will show you that when we do this telnet, when we do this console. So just come out of from this console port, then use the same commands to telnet. Okay, line terminal. Just give this command, you will get to know what is VTY virtual terminal. Okay, 0 to 15. 0 to 15 tells how many virtual telnet session you would be able to get from this device. Means 0 to 15. 15 telnet access you could do it. Enter it and do the same thing how I did. Password is something Cisco telnet. Then execution time would, or just type login. You need a login method and synchronous logging, right? Logging synchronous. Then execution time, it should be around what is the time I given, you just follow it same. Enter. That's it. And exit. So that this is one thing we must do it on this router. So the later what you must do, so they have to test the telnet connectivity from the remote laptop using this telnet client and use this IP address to assign for these devices. So it would all be already assigned, right? But whatever I did right now, probably that would not saved in the startup config. Okay. If I show this running config, or show run, if I show this is actually the file which keeps the whatever the configuration I did just right now. It keeps this enable secret password and also it holds everything whatever I just now did. See this whatever I written in that the same thing would be given, right? And this is password is also encrypted because I did it on global configuration mode. A service called password encryption, right? This completely I did and everything I did, right? Is everything is stored in where the running config file, which is kept, which is old in where in the RAM. If I turn off this device and if I reboot it, if this would be erased again. To save this, what I will do in I just do write this from running to startup. So if I check the startup config to show this startup, so this is open the startup config and the same copy of that running config will be kept here. Okay. And if I turn on this device, actually I don't know what's happening in this device. If I turn on this, it is not enabling. Okay. Okay, I'll just do one thing. I'll just restart it. So you do this, okay, whatever I just did now, and later you just click on this terminal and go to this desktop and go to this command prompt and give this telnet and the gateway address, whatever the address you assigned here, which is 192.168.168.1.1 and just enter. Here it is saying trying to connect because this is not getting turned on because since I using this .73 7.2.2 and a guest version which is have some issues. Okay, I'm not able to turn on this. It's some software issues. Not software issue. Might be my device is getting slow today because I'm using some other applications. This Epic Pen might be making that device to not working. Okay, once you did this, you would able to access the same terminal. This terminal you would able to see over here, where here, and whatever the changes, how I did configure this, everything you could able to do it here. But when you have that to change the siege mode here, it will ask the password. Okay, that is the only thing I would like to show in this thing in today's lab. Okay, and another one, you just have a console port and you just connect from this console to here. Okay, RS-232, and if I open it and go to this terminal and just click OK. See, I would able to get that the same terminal here, whatever I have for this device, and press enter. See, now this would working, right? Even the device is off in condition. This would working. It is asking a password, so I must give the enable password which I gave Cisco. Enter. See, again then it is asking some password. The console, right? Cisco console. I would be able to access it SJC. Then give enable. Then enable password is Cisco. Then you are in privilege mode. Then you get into configuration mode. And whatever the configuration you do everything you could able to see here. Sitting here in my place, I would be able to access this. So if this device is connected with console, otherwise through network, how you would access? You have something called telnet option. See, everything is getting. But telnet to get that, so since this is not turning on this ports, probably some issues are there, I guess. See, these devices are not actually given with that address. Okay, let me give that address and check it. Then close it and then let me check this address whether I have it. Okay, done. Okay, I'll just remove this device. No, and I'll just remove it. And now I will give that command. First, enter, and I'll just click on this and go to here, and I'll go to command prompt, and I'll give this command telnet and the address of it. 92.168.1.1. So wait for a few minutes. It's checking a spanning tree and things protocol. So I get enter. So connection is still is in orange light. That should be get turned to green. Otherwise, let me check on this device. Terminal, not terminal. Go to command prompt and telnet, then 192.168.1.1. Okay. I would be able to access the device. It is asking this control password. Control. I entered long.
Cisco telnets.
Just actually, I'm not able to type the correct one. Control. Password for privilege mode, right? Privilege mode. What is the password I gave? I just should copy it. Okay, I'll just type the same as it is. This I will close it, okay? I'll close this and I will open with this. Command prompt 1, asking a password. This, oh. Oh. Telnet password, right? This, oh. Cisco Telnet, because the previous what I did using console cable, it's to console portal. Okay, this I'm doing through Telnet, right? This is into virtual terminal. So then I have to type the password what I have given here, Cisco Telnet. Okay, so just I gave that. So then you would be able to access it. Then enable password is Cisco. Then you just free to go. And then you could see the running config, everything you could be able to see here itself. Whatever you want to do it, everything you can do it. Then write. But after changing some configuration, if I do this, you just testing that configuration from running to startup config. Is that understood? Is this understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any doubts so far?
Sir, regarding the assignments, sir, subnetting assignments, sir.
Okay.
In the task 3, it is given as you have to do the default routing. So, are they supposed to do default
Oh, okay. You just leave that part. Probably in the next lab, I will explain those static and defaulting. So the major point, like in the previous lab, we used to do that, that writing the network range and okay, writing that network range and you assigning that to the given network topology.
So now for routing, are you supposed to add each and every network address of every?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Is it understood? Any doubts? And I think you are understood like why we need this, even though it is simple. It is a requirement for the network administrator. Yes. No.
Sir.
From others except Karthik. Karthik here. Pranav. Pranav. Okay. Yeah, you just give a response in the chat box whether you understood or you just able to do this or okay. Okay. Appa. So what I will do, I will share this one, this one. Once you did that, I will upload the solution also. Okay. Before that, you just do the same. You ನೀವು ಪುನಃ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಟೈಮ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ doing this whatever you did the previous one, do this some simple things and able and test it and take the screenshot of it and prepare a report and upload it. That's it. Clear?
So you're supposed to upload only the submitting PKT and report.
Yes. The previous one, I will just post today the to upload you that materials. Okay. Today I will post it. Okay. You can post still this Friday. Okay. This one you should upload it in the next after your internals.
Yes, sir.
Okay. For this, whatever I just did now, for along this, I will also give one task, an additional task that should be done by yourself, and it's similar way. Okay. Mm, Similar way you should follow. Before that, you just have an like understand about what is this user configure privilege and configuration mode, and why these are necessary. Okay. Probably in the next class onwards, not next class, after the next class. I will do the parallel this as well, the part B. Okay, I will give some how to write a code for so and so the experiments what I have parallelly. Okay. For up to now, you just do whatever I said. Probably in the later classes, this kind of experiment getting difficult. Okay. You used to do some sort of experiments on cloud-based service what is provided by Cisco. Probably that's kind of network will be very big. Means that would minimum require the understanding. So that's why I'm keep going with this basic things. So which helps you to get to that part. Okay. You just also be like you search on that part. Okay. I will show you that. So DevNet or Sandbox. It's called DevNet Sandbox. On this, you just get into this sandbox something. Click on this the sandbox. So you would able to do such a variety of labs here itself by getting availing this resources which is provided by Cisco. Okay. So presently this website is not working. I think this is under maintenance up to this Saturday or something. Once after that, this would be available. See here, wide varieties of labs would be available. Okay, you just register with your mail ID and you are good to go, and you would be able to access some labs over the lab over here. Okay, so see you can reserve your labs for some time. Okay, through private like by using this VPN, you would only able to access this resource. So for that, you should download this Cisco Connect. This is one VPN. Then you can start with this. So varieties of labs here. Okay. So ACI, Kubernetes collaboration, data centers. Okay. There are lots of labs. SDN, Cisco SDN. Okay. Multi iOS Cisco test network. Lots of things you can do it here. Okay. And still there are lots of labs are available, but I think this is not under maintenance. I would not able to see those. That's it. Otherwise, I have to log in. Okay. So some sort of like I would like to give some hands-on or some overview on this actually. This Cisco SD-WAN. Okay. In the later classes, probably at the end of this lab, I would give some things on this WAN architecture, overlay WAN architecture. Is it clear? Or anything that you would expect to learn to this networking, that is also welcome. You just keep suggest me like, sir, if you are done with this, that would be helpful. Means I will do it. Any suggestion like that, or whether this is good, or this is also it's good? Row.
Yes, right, sir.
Yes, Karthik.
It's fine, sir.
Okay. From others, so every time Karthik is only answering. I don't know what happens to others.
It's fine, sir.
Okay. Karthik Joish.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is good.
Yes, sir. It's fine, sir.
Okay. So why because we are going with this basic thing, because we need a strong understanding on the basics. If you're not having this understanding, or you're not able to visualize this concept, then it's very difficult to deal or work on this kind of environment, because everything is comes with default. So you would not understand what is VLAN, what is this, what is that. So that might quite difficult you to work on this kind of environment. That's why we want to first you build a strong fundamentals to understand how this network would be built and working in real. Any suggestions like it's always welcome. If you're not satisfied or something like that, so you just mail me, or you can even send an WhatsApp or something, uh, or even you can still you are open to suggest me. I will just go with like I'll just relook into it, and I'll check whether that would be suitable or not. Then I'll go according to that. Is that fine? Is this fine now? Whatever we are doing it.
Fine, sir.
I need response. Not or your internet. Okay. Okay. Thank you.